Thank you all so much for joining us as we continue to demand peace instead of endless war, death, and destruction. Thank you to many of my colleagues here who have the moral courage to speak out to save lives, no matter faith, no matter ethnicity. We know, many of us from just even in our district, that the majority of the American people are with us in demanding an immediate ceasefire. This isn't a fringe position, y'all. It's the will of the people. I know in Michigan, 53% of our residents in Michigan support a ceasefire. 74% of them are Michigan Democrats, and 64% of them are independents, all again supporting a ceasefire. People all around the world, from all different backgrounds, faiths, ethnicities, have seen what is happening in Gaza and have decided that they can no longer remain silent. Over the past few weeks, we've heard a lot about how the president and his administration are concerned and troubled by the Israeli government's actions. We're here to tell him, so are we. And yet, once again, we are continuing, though, to veto resolutions at the United Nations for a third time, calling for immediate lasting ceasefire. We're asking, please, let's go ahead and now prioritize Palestinian lives, and again, saving the lives that are there, many of them women and children. I want you all to know, in southern Gaza, Netanyahu has already promised to invade Rafah, even if there is a temporary ceasefire. I'm repeating this. In southern Gaza, Netanyahu has already promised to invade Rafah, even if there's a temporary ceasefire. Rafah, as many of us know, and many of us have talked to advocates and families, Rafah is where 1.5 million Palestinian families are displaced without food, clean water, and shelter. And calling for a temporary ceasefire is not enough. We all here are saying we need a permanent solution to this. So we know that there's nothing humanitarian about temporary ceasefire that feeds our children in Gaza before the bombing and killing resumes. So we need a lasting ceasefire. I know that 1.7 Palestinians, nearly 3/4 of Gaza's population, have been displaced. Famine and disease are rampant. I'm hearing about it every single day. Children are forced to eat grass, animal feed, just to survive. I saw a grandmother who, again, lost the parents of the child, was lost. Her grandchild is in the hands of her, and she's giving him, Jan, just water that's like brown. It looks contaminated. According to the United Nations, 576,000 people in Gaza, one step away from famine. In northern Gaza, 1 in 6 children is malnutritioned. I have a family, the Zakaria al-Rashi family in northern Gaza. The grandfather lives in my district, and he's saying, my grandson has a fever, Rashida. How do I get him medicine? How do I save his life? We don't know what to do. Using starvation as a weapon of war is undeniable a war crime. And is a war crime that we continue again to be complicit to those decisions. All across Gaza, the medical system has been deliberately destroyed. According to UNICEF, at least 90% of children under the age of 5 is affected by one or more infectious disease. Christopher Lockyer, Secretary General of Doctors Without Borders, told the United Nations Security Council, quote, there's repeated displacement, constant fear, and witnessing family members literally dismembered before their eyes. These psychological injuries have led children as young as 5 to tell us that they would prefer to die. Children in Gaza, we all believe, deserve to grow up. They deserve to grow old. Netanyahu, as we all know, has a long history of turning to extremism and violence to boost his failing domestic political support. And there's very real danger, y'all, that he will expand this war regionally in an effort to stay in power. I have families in my district that have families in South Lebanon, and they're already seeing a number of funerals pop up because of the continued bombardment. Make no mistake, the United Nations is slowly being drawn into Netanyahu's war. And we're saying enough. Enough. We all know that we continue to say we don't have money for removal of lead, to fund our schools, to try to address the declining healthcare system in our country. And yet we continue to invest in wars like this. We cannot stop organizing, as you all know, and marching until our country facilitates a lasting ceasefire. And that it also includes the release of all hostages and those arbitrarily detained. And let me just be very clear. We must say ceasefire now. We must say release the hostages. And all of that is not conflicting demands. They result in the same thing. They The alternative is continued death and destruction.
Right.
And I'm here to say, not anymore, not on our watch. I'm here to say that we must choose life over death. Ceasefire now. Thank you. Next.